Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Friday night. Friday early evening, anyway. Well, today we're going to talk about Andrew Tate. Well, not anybody's real favorite subject anymore. I understand that, but there was a lot going on, and there was definitely stuff that was, well, kind of annoying. Because if you look at social media, and you listen lately, the interviews that Andrew Tate is doing, like he's definitely putting out some misinformation there. Now, let me state that, well, Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, and the women who are involved in this lawsuit, these criminal charges in Romania, they have every right to defend themselves. They could say whatever they want. But there needs to be some pushback when they're actually putting out like extreme misinformation. Um, I hope that their lawyers will put up a good defense for them and do what they need to do. But the propaganda machine needs to be pushed back on in mass media a lot. There are a lot of people out there, because they are Tate supporters, just putting a bunch of garbage out there that just isn't true. It's just not true. Um, if anyone saw the Piers Morgan interview, well, that's where I started to get a bit annoyed, because everything, it seemed like everything that was asked of him, he had a spin on it. There were several. I did share those video links, and I will again, to that interview. And I will be addressing exactly some of the things that he said in that video. Although I'm not going to show the video up here because, I don't really want to give the words that were so ridiculous more airplay than they need. But I do recommend that everybody go and listen to it if you want to actually check anything that I'm saying. I hope that you do double check and don't just take whatever I say as the golden rule, because it's not with anyone. I would never say that, like, for anyone. Always double check your sources. Always, listen to the information yourself and decide for yourselves. Like, I never want to try to push anybody one way or the other. But it really does annoy me. It really does annoy me that people just can come out here with all kinds of misinformation and just nobody says it. Like, it just goes. All right. Well, let's address the first thing that Andrew Tate says in almost every interview in regards, if he gets asked about the Romanian government's case against him. Okay. Because, it's just the matrix. I'll tell you this, his standard line is, it's the matrix pushing back on him because they don't like him, because he's speaking the truth. Right. Because, like, a government's going to go out of your way with a whole big task force and investigate you for years because they don't like you. And because, like, there's nothing there. They're going to waste their resources, their time, their money. They're going to look like idiots because they don't like you, because you speak the truth, because it's all like organized against you, because he's so important to how the universe is running these days. They would have to do that. They would personally put themselves to have to do that. I don't think so. Okay. And well, when he says that they have nothing but what they actually think about him, and that's why they're charging it, I would just counter it with a visual. The Romanian government has 40, that's like at least 40 to God knows how many bound, bound booklets of evidence against him. These are the emails, these are the transcripts of the phone calls, this is the affidavits, this is the testimony. That visual right there, does that look like nothing to you guys? Like, that's a lot. That actually looks like a lot to me. That is a lot. And I want to say that this picture came from a Twitter account called Murder by Crayons, which has been documenting a lot of what's been going on with the trial. And some of the information I'm going to give you today is coming from Romania, and actually they are actually posting on it. Andrew Tate did have a court date today. There were 2 motions that were supposed to be, I don't know what they call them in Romania. Here we call them motions when there are things that the judges or the court has to decide on. Only one of them got addressed. And we're going to get to that in a second. But I ask you, does that actually look like no evidence? Because I mean, to me, that looks like a lot of evidence. It really does. It definitely looks like a lot of evidence. Okay. When he says, well, no, that was the case. Okay. Part of the court case was the motions for today were not heard because there's an actual appeal. Okay. And the one that did get settled was whether or not he can move around. Like there were 2, and the 2 are whether or not he could move more freely around Romania instead of staying in the vicinity of his home and where the charges are filed, like in Bucharest. And he wanted to, move around more freely. And so there was a petition on the court. Now, let me bring this down for a second and get the other one, because that part, based on the fact that he had abided by the house arrest, nothing else happened while he was under house arrest. He has not had any other charges brought against him. There's been no incidents of him interfering with anyone else. In Romania, it is like standard practice that these things get lifted up in stages as they go forward to make sure that he's not a risk. Okay. They have seized his assets, so they don't believe he's going to get on a plane and leave. He's had no other offenses while he or Tristan, while they were under this house arrest and this limited mobility. And it is part of the process. Okay. This is going to be a long haul for Tristan and for Andrew Tate and to the 2 women who are also indicted. It's going to be a while. This process is going to be very lengthy. Okay. And just as an example, today's hearing had to be split in 2 because of the appeal process and how they do it. The first part that the part that they did address today was in regards to him being able to move more freely about. And they did lift it. They did lift that he can leave the immediate area of Bucharest. Like he could travel within Romania. He's not allowed to leave Romania. Okay. Well, he can travel within Romania. And the reason it's so frustrating, okay, is because as soon as that happened, okay, as predicted, like I actually find this quite humorous because, act as predicted by Murder by Crayon. And I would say they're putting the facts out there, but they, what I admire about it is they're a little bit snarky like me. They get the hypocrisy of the whole thing. And from looking at the posts, I think that they also feel a little like I do, that the information needs to get out there in a clear way and not in the misinformation way that it's being presented. Because of course, true to form, the Tate propaganda machine was out there saying there is no case, we just won, we're allowed to do what we want now in Romania, which is not true. They are allowed to travel freely, but the case is still active. They did not release them because the case is ridiculous. No evidence of that was presented during this hearing. Let's just make that clear. This was about whether or not any violations of the restriction to their movements had occurred. Period. It wasn't about the evidence of what they've done wrong. None of that. Okay. But these guys are out there celebrating like the case is over and all they get to do is go to the grocery store. Let's be clear. Let's be clear about that. They can actually go to a movie now if they want, to go out and have dinner. Okay. And they can walk to the park in another city next to Bucharest. But can they leave Romania? No. Have the charges been dropped? No. They're acting like a judge looked over all the evidence and decided there was no case, and that didn't happen. The case is still active. Let's be clear. The case against Andrew and Tristan Tate is still active and still going forward, still being investigated, still being documented, and still going to be prosecuted. Okay? That didn't happen. But to listen to them out there right now, I mean, they are very happy. He does get to move around. I would be happy too. let's not take that away from him. He gets to actually, go move around a little bit more freely. And that is, that is definitely what we could call a win. But is it winning the whole game? No. I would say, I don't think you should be talking so loudly right now, Andrew. You're just going to piss people off, and they're just going to keep going at you harder. I mean, wouldn't be trying to misinform. Sooner or later, people wake up. If you keep coming out here with misinformation like this, sooner or later, they're going to wake up and they're going to just call you what you are, a fake. Yeah, a fake. And being all about honesty and all this other stuff, I really don't think that's what he wants. I mean, his whole empire is built on the fact that he knows what's going on, right? Well, he looks a little delusional when he starts talking like that. When he starts talking like about this all being, over with, it's not. It's definitely not. Okay, so here's the thing with this case. Okay, basically, and I think that they actually did say it. Here's some context about how they moved this out, and I wanted to show these because, like I said, this account, Murder by Crayons, really kind of laid it all out very, very nicely. Very nicely. But just to give you some context, and these are their words, I agree with what they're saying here. But I'm not going to take credit for actually formulating the statement together because they did just such a great job. But some context about preventive measures, right? Unless there is compelling recent evidence that a preventive measure, and the preventive measure in this case is the restriction of their movements throughout Romania. They were actually first under house arrest, correct? First, they were in jail. Then they were released from jail into house arrest. And then they were released from house arrest into immediate vicinity confinement. And now they're going, now it's going a little bit further. Well, here in Romania, this is the information that was put forward. Unless there is insufficient evidence to ensure a smooth criminal process, such as the risk of fleeing the trial or witness evidence tampering, the least stringent possible measure will be applied. Even though the Tates have a history of deception and rule breaking, as long as they haven't engaged in such behavior recently, and the judge is convinced that they won't repeat it, the judge's primary concern will be whether there have been any blatant violations of their judicial control or house arrest obligations. If there are none, then it is likely that a less stringent measure will be considered. So when they were petitioned by the defense to have less stringent measure to be considered, because it was quite confining, there was no reason not to. And that's how it goes. It makes perfect sense, right? Does it mean that that's all there is? No. Does it mean that the case is over? No. As much as the Tates right now, based on their tweets, I mean, that one from Andrew was like, oh my God, like he's just posting that he's just like, everything's just fine, But anyway, they're still going to try to push it further. There's at least Tristan didn't come right out and say, like Andrew did, that the whole case is moot now. Tristan is actually just, as he should, celebrating that he hasn't been, I have not been further than 4 kilometers from this house in 346 days. That's almost a year. Today, judges who have seen the evidence, they have seen the evidence of their behavior during the year. Yes, they have. But they didn't go through all of that evidence yet. They have set him free to travel around the whole country wherever and whenever I like. A step in the right direction. I'm grateful. The struggle for justice continues. This fact about them looking at all the evidence, do not let that is the misinformation there is that he's acting like the whole evidence against them for the case. What they looked at, as was pointed out by Murder by Crayons, is that they looked at their past behavior during the 346 days. You did not violate any of the rules of your confinement, which means that they could lessen it. They did not look at all of the documentation against you. Okay. They did not look at all of that. And this is the misinformation that really kind of pissed me off and why I decided I needed to come forward with this. I knew I knew there was going to be a hearing today. I hoped that the two issues would be settled, but only one of them was. And I knew there would be an onslaught of media misrepresentation by the Tate propaganda machine. And so, well, I just wanted to add my little bit to the other side of the scale to kind of even things out and try to show you guys like the black and the white of the whole thing instead of just, the pie in the sky, lovely little cloud inference version that Andrew Tate is like putting out there. Like this is a win for their side that they do get to move around, but actually it doesn't really benefit anybody to keep them completely confined. They are, after all, innocent until proven guilty. I mean, even in Romania, right? There's going to be a trial that has to actually prove his guilt. Not our popular opinion or anything like that. Not the populist opinion, I mean, not mine. I mean, everybody's. Of what we think they did or they didn't do. But the fact that he did these hour-long interviews with Piers Morgan recently in Romania to say there's no evidence against him. I literally heard him say that the whole case is based on making TikTok money. And that's not true. He is up for RICO. He's up for racketeering and organizing a conspiracy, an illegal conspiracy to make money. But yes, TikTok was involved in one of the events, but it's much more than that. Much, much more than that. And when he says the indictment is, doesn't have anything else, well, I do believe that I posted this the other day, and I'm just going to do it again. The indictment is 298 pages. This is the translation of the Romanian indictment and case against Andrew Tate. 298 pages. I ask you, does it take 298 pages to tell somebody they shouldn't make money on TikTok illegally? No. There are 3 charges against Tate, Andrew. The formation of the criminal organization. Okay, I'm going to put this up. I'm not going to read this whole indictment, but you know how I am. I'm going to let you guys read it if you want. And it is out everywhere on Twitter and all over. Okay, it's just in articles that are being written about the case. It's everywhere. So the public access right now for sure. But for us, let's just go over just the charges, okay? Just to counter that statement that he made on Piers Morgan, it really kind of infuriated me that he's actually just acting like they're just going out of their way for no reason at all. And when people don't respect law and order, I get a little annoyed. I do. I don't really think the judicial system in any country would go out of their way to persecute somebody just because they don't like them, because they speak the truth. But anyway, I'll show you that Andrew Tate is not being charged with unlikability or lying. I'm going to ask you, where do we see this here? I don't see it. To me, when I look at this, it says that Andrew Tate is being charged for the formation of a criminal organization, for human trafficking in a continued form, okay, and for assault without consent. Yep. He's charged with that. He doesn't talk about that. Tristan, also formation of a criminal organization, human trafficking, and incitement to assault or other violence against another person. Georgiana, who is like Andrew Tate's number 1 per his own statement. Okay. Formation of a criminal organization, human trafficking in continued form, unauthorized access to computer system, hacking and altering other people's information, assault Oh, wait. Alteration of computer data integrity. She changed evidence. Assault or other violence. And also the fourth person, the woman named in it is Radu Alexandra Luana. She's also charged with racketeering, formation of a criminal organization, and human trafficking. Okay. And then there's just all the rest of it is documentation from everybody what happened. Okay. When Andrew Tate says that there are no women come against him saying that he did anything, now, unfortunately, the names are redacted through here, but you're going to see initial after initial. There are 7 women coming forward with information that have been interviewed to get the information in regards to these charges. 7. Okay. There are numerous emails. There are numerous text messages. Okay. Involved. 298 pages, well documented all the way through. This was not a month-long investigation. This was not a couple of days. We're talking really in depth. Most of this goes back to 2020, like 2020 and earlier. There's been rumors of the investigation since 2017. Okay. There are documented phone calls. There's audio. There is transcripts. There are emails. There is testimony. You saw the picture. Stacks and stacks of binders of actual evidence. But Andrew Tate wants to tell you that he's on trial because nobody likes him, because he speaks the truth. Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, Georgiana, and Radu are on going to trial because they broke the law. Because Romanian government believes and has documented and investigated laws that they broke. And just because they think they're speaking the truth or they have a different way of doing anything does not entitle them to break anybody's laws. Period. Like, I will agree. For me, Andrew Tate's not likable. I don't like him. Okay? But I'm not going to have anybody press charges against him just for being unlikable. I mean, first of all, there's no way to do that. If there was, man, would the court system be busy. But on the other hand, like, I don't really see a large organization like that, especially the DIECOT, who was designed to actually stop corruption in Romania based on they had some serious issues there. But the DIECOT has had a very, very successful track record since the inception of this organization of law enforcement and investigation, of bringing things to prosecution successfully. I don't think they're wasting their time. I don't think they would bother. There's plenty of corruption for them to deal with. They don't have to go after the Tate brothers to make a name. They already made a name for themselves. It's all propaganda that I'm pushing against here. I really can't say. I even don't like the word propaganda. I don't even like the way it sounds when it comes out of my mouth. It's just so what I don't want to deal with on a daily basis. I like doing research. I like reading the black and white. I want to see the case. I want to hear the evidence. I don't want to hear the PR, the public relations version of any of it. I don't really want to hear the propaganda about it. I would like to see what the defense is. I have not once in any of these interviews heard anything about what the defense would be, how it's not what they say. They just really kind of just deny and say it doesn't exist. Andrew Tate is documented in several interviews as saying there are no women coming forward saying he violated them against their will. And yet there are affidavits in this indictment of women who are actually saying that. Yes, there are. And there's going to be a court case. Yep, there's going to be a court case. It's absolutely incredible to me. I think people are misrepresenting what he's saying when he says no woman has come against him. It's 100% true. No woman ever has, because no woman would probably want to have an well, that's kind of fresh. I should have read that before I put it up. But it is true that they're filing charges on him, though. But yeah, I hear. But he thinks that he's going to get them to take it back. Tate probably thinks that the real alpha male doesn't need to know how to read. Exactly. You know what? Rabbit says very funny. But yeah, uh, facts are facts. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Hello there, rabbits and KCG, and all of you that are joining afterwards. Hey, Sean, it's good to see you, and Anna, it's good to see you too. I am looking forward for questions, so if you have them, you know, let me know. Yeah, and Liam says, "Oh yeah, hold a sword, smoke a cigar, and never read a book." Exactly. He said reading was a waste of time. Like I was like, okay, because yes, like who would want to read a 298-page indictment against you, Andrew, when there's absolutely no evidence, right? None whatsoever. Oh my God. I just can't. And believe me, when he's out there telling everybody this is about a TikTok case, they are using TikTok evidence. One of the women in that affidavit, you will hear testimony in, and they will point to an, a TikTok account in one of the complaints about forcing a woman to do stuff for money on social media against their will is about a TikTok account. And that particular victim says that she was forced for 12 hours to stay live without food or water or a break to do things on the air for money for them. Okay. And that is where that statement about the TikTok account is coming in. Okay. Not all of these things happened on TikTok. There's a warehouse where there was plenty of internet access. There are OnlyFans accounts and private websites. There's plenty, but it's not just about TikTok. Okay. I want you to pay attention to statements of Andrew Tate, if you can tolerate it, and look for the keywords they use and how they try to twist things. It is very manipulative and it's done on purpose. And I think we need to start pointing it out. You know, my I don't want to say, oh, he's a bad guy, nobody like him, just stay away from him. I do find him to be a very damaging and dangerous person with the way that he does manipulate information, the way he takes advantage of people. I would say I find that. I do. But that's my personal opinion on it. I'm not going to push that on anybody else. But I would ask you all to start looking and listening to the language that's being used and to try to recognize the manipulation in it, the misrepresentation of facts. So that can spread around. So others that may not be seeing the whole picture, maybe their eyes can get opened a little bit, you know, because it is quite damaging. I do believe that misinformation in any form leads to damage, okay, in some way to everybody involved, okay? Right. Hey, Fishner, all the charges against them international trafficking or just right now just in Romania, although there's testimony and assistance from England at this point, and I do believe there was an investigation here in America, rabbits, that has not brought forth charges at this date. The Romania has everything on there, but the fact that all of this happened in several countries at the same time does kind of make it international, although it is only being filed in Romania. So hopefully that answered your question. Well, that's all the information I have on that. Does he still have that hateful female representative? Yes, he has several, Anna, at this point. Okay. I would be interested to see if further charges appear internationally after the indictment finishes in Romania. I do think that there are other women. There is been said that there are several of the women in the Romania indictment are from England, and that's part of the human trafficking part. You will see testimony from these women that he enticed them with the offer of either marriage or a relationship, that he wined and dined them, got them over there, and then imprisoned them to work for money for him in a way against their wills, and that it was a whole hoodwink kind of thing. There are several women with the same type of story in there, and the same thing with Tristan also. Okay. And there is testimony from Andrew Tate himself in his whole telling people how to do this, okay? Bragging about it, telling people how to get women to do what you want, how to entice them, how to manipulate them in a certain way to do what he wants. It is going to be used against him then too. He says that everybody's misrepresenting a valid business plan, okay? A valid way of running things as far as a business, and they're using it against him. I guess he forgot that there were human beings involved in this business plan, and that actually keeping people and doing things against their will is against the law. Like, I'm all for a valid business plan, not one. Just because it makes money doesn't mean it's not wrong, especially if it violates the law. Who cares if it's profitable, Andrew? Who cares if that's how you made all your millions? It's still not right. You're still going to be judged for it. And if you broke the law, you are going to have to pay for it. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Oh, that's fine, you guys. I understand, but let's not talk about other channels in my chat. I do not like that on my channel at all. What people do over on their YouTubes is their business. If you guys want to talk about it privately with me or in the Discord or anything, that's one thing. But I'm not a fan of that in chance, and I don't really want it on my channel. So if you guys could either take your comments back or yourselves, or I will have a mod remove them. And I'm not chastising you. I'm just reminding you, I don't do that. Okay? I don't do that, and I don't allow that here. Okay? And I'm sorry if you're offended. Okay? Yep. No, you can shenanigans if you want. I just don't talk about other channels, okay, and what they do. Um, like, regular YouTube channels. That's not a commentary channel that like puts themselves in drama or anything like that. That's what I mean. It's not like Sniper Wolf or freaking Amaranth or somebody like that. It's not even Keemstar. Just regular YouTubers. I just don't do that here. Okay. Mm. Uh, Commander, I'm going to ask you to just stop talking about it in the chat. And please don't eh, make me say it again. And thank you. All right. So back to Tate. Okay. It is not that it's not a shenanigans Rocket Couch. I do approve. I like you guys having a sense of humor, and I like you doing the interaction. I really do. Okay. Well, let's not bring other YouTube channels into it about other stuff. Okay. All right. Here we go. Now, back to Tate and the evidence. Okay. The part of the actual hearing today that didn't get heard because there are appeals about it would be in regards to the assets. The Tates have come forward trying to get some of their assets released because they had a lot of things seized: bank accounts, cards, properties, like all kinds of stuff. Okay. But they're saying that not all of them are in their name. And it's probably true. There are properties in others' women's names, there are cars, there are things. But you see, it has to be proven that they didn't like purposely do that to keep it out of the government's hands. And that's the problem. It's being moved because they're looking into all of this about it. It has to be pretty hard to stay in Romania without any assets. I mean, part of in the Piers Morgan interview, or Andrew Tate was saying that, like, they don't have fun. Like, they're supposed to be taking care of their bills and everything like that, but they don't have their normal funding coming in. They don't have the lifestyle that they live, and they just, in a way, I think that that's pretty, I can understand how upsetting that is, and it's got to be very difficult. But like in a racketeering charge, ill-gotten gains, they don't belong to you. If you got them illegally, you're at a risk of having them taken away, you know? And that's what's going on here. Like, everything's been seized because they proved there was an illegal we thought they had to actually show that to the court to be able to seize it. Okay. They proved that they weren't paying the appropriate taxes. They proved, okay, that they were not, that the money could have been ill-gotten through racketeering and through breaking the law in Romania. Okay. And they're going to have to pay restitution. So the seizing of those assets is very well to guarantee that they will have a means to pay the penalties and stuff that's due. Now, Andrew says that that's manipulation. That's just them taking the money because that's all this is about. They don't like him. He speaks the truth. They're just looking to gain some money off of him. Okay. Actually, they're looking to enforce the laws and regulations of their country that you don't have a right to violate for your profit, and then cry boo-boo that you can't, go to McDonald's, whatever. Anyway, there's a petition by the defense to get some of these assets back. Now, already I have seen documentation that several of the things that are in the women's names, while the assets were being seized, Andrew sold a company to Georgiana, who then sold this asset to someone else because of the charges. Okay. Now they've got that all documented, the switching of hands back and forth, back and forth. The hiding of assets can actually be used against him. So this is a catch-22. The more they look into it, the more that, he's at risk. Okay. But for them, it's worth the gamble because they do need some of their assets to actually survive in this country. They're not allowed to leave. They should be able to try to pay some of their bills. So we're going to find out on Monday about that. It is scheduled that Monday is supposed to be the other part of the hearing on that. Whether cause, assets, any of the bank accounts that they could show are in others' names and they shouldn't be penalized. And rightly so. If something's in somebody else's, name and they don't have enough evidence to prove that you're actually in control of it or how it got in that other person's name, trying to avert the law in general, without that, they really should, release it. If they did this in a blanket sweep, maybe there are some things that need to be released because innocent parties should not be prejudiced against or held accountable for what Andrew Tate did, or Tristan did, or Georgiana, or Radu. However, I don't think that, they're not telling you about the documented audit trail and the years of investigation that helped Romania prove what assets needed to be seized. This was not done on a whim. And that I have to keep stressing. This was not done on a whim. There is a very concise and clear investigation here prior. And the DIICOT is not messing around. Okay? They are not messing around. Okay? And yeah, record, this is the one. Yep. What's the saying? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Exactly. Like, I don't think they realize the depth of what's going on here. Okay. Because it is quite serious. I do hope that they do have enough to actually, not live as comfortably as he was before, but they should be able to pay their bills. Let's face it. Andrew Tate does have people that depend on him. He's got a partner. He's got children. The mothers of his children deserve to get their support for the children and not to actually suffer based on what's going on. However, if all of that money is ill-gotten gains, I don't know how they're going to help. I don't know how they're going to help them, So, but okay, just a second here. So, the other thing that I found quite amusing recently, and it's more about the propaganda and the spinning of everything like that, but you know how it is, in kind of like bouncing off what Record just said, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, right? Well, there is something else that happened in the media recently that is quite entertaining as far as the playing stupid games thing. You all know Grand Theft Auto, right? Well, Grand Theft Auto, that game, it's player oriented. You get to do crimes, you get choices, you get to pick your character. And they like to put famous people in it. Like some of you will remember they put Keanu Reeves in there, the really, the really emotional picture of him slumped up there sitting against the wall, when he was just like totally freaking devastated. Well, they like to throw these things. They like to like throw little images of popular things that are going on and all. Well, the Tate brothers have made Grand Theft Auto 6. Like they're in there, but they're not in there the way they want. They're actually in there as a criminal enterprise. They're actually in there as bad guys, and they're actually really pissed off about it. Because I don't know what they're going to be able to do about it, but I would expect a lawsuit. I do, especially if you can identify them straight out, but they're speaking out against it, but they like, I guess they want to actually only be famous for what they want to be famous for. They actually only want the media coverage that they want. And they're trying to like control the story a little bit there. But I actually, find that part quite amusing in a little bit like, be careful what you ask for there, Tate brothers, because you might just get it. Notoriety. More notoriety for all the wrong things. Or notoriety for a way that somebody is out there like saying, hey, I speak for the truth. And actually you're getting representative as not a very nice person out there. I guess he's just trying to control the narrative because if he doesn't, he's not going to make the money he wants to make, for telling the truth, because people might start thinking maybe he doesn't tell the truth. Well, I would say that what he's not telling the truth about is that there's no evidence against him. Now, he could say there's no credible evidence. He could say he disagrees with the evidence, but he's not going to say that there's not those 48 binders of evidence like that I just showed you on that table. That's a lot of documentation of emails and phone calls. He's not going to actually get away with saying there are no women coming forward that he did anything against their will, because there are 7 of them documented in the Romanian lawsuit alone. And that does not include the ones that are involved in other countries in investigations. And yes, there are investigations. If you read that 298 pages, you will learn a lot about these other, England, America, what's going on. All right. I don't think this is a witch hunt, Anna. I really don't. Although they would like us to believe it. Okay. There are plenty of witch hunts going on. Yeah. There are plenty of slander cases going on. Absolutely. And I don't think this is one of them, but we're going to have to find out because, in fairness, we need the trial, right? This is the point in regards to getting those assets back, right, Liam? Depending on what they are, he should not be able to continue his illegal enterprise or run his business if it's deemed as illegal. But like that's what they're going to have to deal with in the motions trial. This is the other side of the coin. Like what part of it was actually illegal gains in illegal activity? And what parts can be released. Now, reasonably, we could see some of the assets released, okay, but it's going to depend on how they relate to the big picture. But here's one thing that I can predict, and I think Murdered by Crayons did a good job of predicting what the Tate brothers would come out and say should they be able to travel through Romania a little freer. They kind of called it. They nailed it right on the head that they were going to spin it to say that there was no case and that this wasn't like this is just a witch hunt and they've got nothing on me. They're going to have to let me go. They called it. It's definitely how they spinned it. Well, that's why I give them great credit for putting the other side of the coin out there. The additional information that is needed to look at the big picture, to look at the whole thing. Okay. And thank you, Murdered by Crayons, for doing that. And everybody else who is helping to get the information out there. When Andrew Tate says there's not an indictment and he's not being charged for anything except for moving money through TikTok, making too much money on TikTok. Well, we've got 298 pages now that say otherwise. Now, does that make him guilty? No, we still need a trial. Absolutely. Absolutely still need a trial. Well, he can't stand there and say there's nothing. Yeah. They can't just stay there and say there's nothing. As far As far as we know, they're not even in it yet. The trailer came out this week, and no announcements were made from Rockstar regarding this. But clout is clout. You know what? Can you blame Rockstar for actually using their name to, like, using their images to actually get out? I don't blame them. That's a nice hook for GTA, right? Especially since everybody's still talking about Keanu, being in the other. I think it's a great hook. Okay, I really do. So, but they're whining about it. But like Anna, I think there would be a lawsuit if they actually go forward and put them in the game. I do. I think it would. I think they may choose not to hold up production and everything like that, not to have stays of selling the product. It could be pretty dicey. That depends on if the Tate brothers have enough money to be litigious. Okay, if they've got the money to get a lawyer to file that case. Oh, it's the Tates using you feel it's the Tates using GTA. Well, I will say that they are using it to get into the media, absolutely. They are using GTA to get into the media right now. They're pushing back in their interviews about it. You're spot on about that, Rabbits. They are definitely using it. But I also think that the reason that they're in the GTA trailer is a little bit them using it also. It is a pretty good hook. It is a very popular case. They're being touted as bad guys. They've got that whole image thing going. I think GTA is using it too, not the way that the Tates are. The Tates are definitely using it for a media cycle. They are definitely in here, pushing back it in interviews and things like that, and making comments, tweets, comments, getting everybody to talk about it, instructing people what to say, just like this whole grandma thing. You know, Grandma's sick and Romania won't let us leave to come visit. Well, you still can't leave the country. Okay. And you know what? You weren't really worried about grandma ever getting sick while you did all this illegal activity in another foreign country. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry grandma's not feeling well. I want grandma to be okay. But I don't really think that just because you want to do something, Andrew Tate or Tristan Tate, that you should be allowed to. Like, you know what? You wanted to break the law. Now you got to suffer the consequences, allegedly. Okay. You did things outside of what that country deems as legal. You're under investigation for serious, serious illegal activity. These are serious charges: racketeering, human trafficking, and assault without consent. These are serious. They're not like, oh, well, just give me a day pass so I can go to America. Are you out of your mind? You do not get any special privileges. That's just ridiculous. You should not be in. And the nerve of you to even ask. Oh, but I knew you would. I mean, of course, right? Yeah. Tell you about it. I'll tell you, you know. Liam says they need to give the character a sword, a cigar, and a witch's hat. A witch's hat. Okay, but yeah, I mean, I would assume that they would both be smoking cigars while they're talking as character. You know. Yeah, and it does look like, it's like a hook. It's kind of like, GTA would be using it as a hook, and it's cool. Well, yeah, you're right. Human trafficking is no joke. And people should not be making money on that hook at all. Absolutely. They do seem very entitled. Human trafficking is a serious issue in a lot of countries, especially here in America. It's not talked about as much, but the actual incidents of it are getting larger and, bigger, the percentages. Um, People going missing all the time, people being found in foreign countries under sex slave conditions, people right here in America being imprisoned for this kind of activity. Um, it is serious. It is a violation. It is treating another individual as less than, which is something I'm always, always going to speak loudly about. No one has the right to do that. Not a parent to a child, not a partner to a partner. Okay, nobody. All right. Mm-mm. even in even in hierarchy situations, if situations that have authoritarian process, we've got like teachers, and we've got government, and we all like that, you still do not have the right to treat anybody less than. Basic human rights. Okay, It is, anyone that puts themselves above them or thinks that others don't deserve them, you're wrong. I don't care your race, religion, creed. I don't care what you stand for, what your political beliefs are. If that is your angle in any way, you are treating anybody less than, you're wrong. You definitely, I'm going to be pushing back on you, regardless of who you are. Like, I know y'all think rose-colored glasses, there goes Bear again, wanting that world to be a good place. Believe me, I know the world is shit. I do. I'm with you guys. I get it. But we have to push back on how we want the world to be. We have to conduct ourselves the way we want the world to be. Or you know what? It's never going to get there. It's never even going to remotely have a shot to get there. I'm not one that's going to lay down and say it's okay. I'm not one that's going to lay down and say, okay, that's the way the world is and there's nothing I can do about it. You know what? If we don't try, that's true. If we accept it, then that's true. And I won't do it. I won't say it's okay. It is not okay to treat anyone less than, period. You could be smarter, you could be prettier, you could make more money, you could do this, you could do that. Well, basic human equality needs to be protected. Okay. And there are whole demographics of individuals in this world that we need to protect. Minors, those that aren't able to protect themselves, the disabled, like we need to, yes, and we need to stand back. But this pushback, okay, nope, that's just the way it is. The world's a horrible place. It is what it is, and we can't do anything back. I'm just never gonna go for it. Nope. My dying breath will be, that's not right. That's just not right. I don't agree. Nope, not gonna have it. Okay. Entitlement. If you're standing on entitlement, you're not going to win with me. But that's enough soapboxing for the night, don't you think, people? I'm going to take a couple of questions. You have any other questions about this actual indictment? I do hope, I'm going to drop the link again. I really do hope that you take the time to read it. Okay. And I've got a couple other little articles here for you. Hold on 1 second. I've got a video that I did find quite interesting. I did watch last night. Not only I did drop the video the other day in regards to the Piers Morgan interviews when we talked about Andrew last week. Here is an article in regards to the GTA issue. Okay. And also I've got a video. I've got the first part of it, the link. You'll have to go to the gentleman's channel to get the second one. But this guy did a very interesting interview with Andrew Tate. And I just want you to see how he is when he actually has a platform where someone's kind of agreeing with him. This is the kind of propaganda I'm pushing back on. This actual interview actually helped to fire me up because, like, George Janko, he just doesn't really seem like, a contrarian kind of guy. He seems kind of reasonable, but a lot of what he says supports the dialect that Andrew Tate puts out there. And this is a clear example of why I find it dangerous, okay? Because they take something that could be a good thing, giving people self-worth, taking care of yourself, fighting the good fight, that kind of stuff, taking care of your family and all. And then they twist it to include statements like by any means necessary, like, me or the highway, do as I say, everything else is beneath me. There's all these hidden messages in there. This is what makes this kind of stuff dangerous to me, in my opinion. This is why I waste my time up here speaking about it. And I don't consider it a waste of time. But I get plenty of DMs for people asking me, why are you wasting your time talking about that? Like, nobody wants to hear it. But I will keep pointing at it as to trying to explain why I find it so dangerous. And this interview was one of them. I want you to just take a peek at it. You don't have to look at the whole thing, but look at how easy they get along, and look at how anybody looking at it from the outside would just think that this is all good. There might be to something that maybe Andrew Tate didn't do anything illegal. I think it's very highly unlikely, since what he's being charged for, Andrew Tate himself has admitted to doing prior to the charges. and bragged about it. It built a whole business model on it, told everybody. Well, now that it's actually illegal and people want to document that what he did was illegal, now it's a different story, you know? Yeah, they are. Mipit, I agree with you. They absolutely are. Liam, I don't know about the lawyers because I've yet to hear what the defense is, except for that they say that the charges are ridiculous. That they're not going to. That it's all untrue. That he's being charged because people don't like him because he stands for the truth, and it's the Matrix working against him. It's an organized system to hold him down, just to push him down because they don't want him to succeed, which I find ridiculous. I really find it absolutely ridiculous. I do think he should have his say. I don't want his rights to be violated either. I want him to get a fair trial. Okay. I don't really think that the actual lessening up of his movements around Romania are really that bad. I think that's okay. I think he should be able to. He needs to be able to see his children. He needs to be able to, conduct somewhat business in his defense. Okay. Should he be allowed to do anything illegal? No, they're going to watch him. I mean, absolutely. And they'll probably put the restrictions back if he does anything like contact any of the witnesses. He's not really supposed to do that. And that's what he didn't do during this period and why they lifted, because there was no reason to keep it as strict if he's actually obeying what they want as far as proper behavior. Okay. I agree with you, Rick. Some of the stuff that he says in regards to what's going on, like sometimes I wonder if he's on something or if he's like saying, you know, you know what? Rabbit, that would be funny. Rabbit says, "Tell me that all of the judges, prosecutors are all women, because that would be like Chef's Kiss perfect." I doubt it, but I'm sure if we do, somebody will send us some information on that. Like the information coming out of Romania is coming out, but it's not as fast as it is here, like in America. But I can't wait to find out. Those don't sound like legal arguments. It's more like it's not fair for me to be treated like I'm not the most important person in the room. Exactly. It sounds like entitled. Exactly, Liam. Those aren't legal arguments. That's all that's out here on the press. I know if I was his lawyer, I'd be telling him to shut up. I would. I'd be saying less is more, dude. Like zip it. Okay. But that's not Andrew Tate's goal. Is to keep making money and to keep all those people that are supporting him doing what he needs them to do to make money. Because that he is still making money here in the United States. By everybody promoting his business model and going forward. Okay. He's still making money in other countries like England, doing the same thing, and everywhere else. He's just not in Romania, and he can't get access to it. He was a kickboxer. Yes. Yes, he was. Too many hits to the head, maybe. I don't know, but he was a kickboxer and he does promote physical strength in taking care of oneself. I mean, there are some good things that he said. I'm not going to sit up here and say that some of the things that he advocates for don't make perfect sense. Okay. Taking care of yourself first so that you could take care of others. Great. Okay. Having physical strength, treating your body like a temple. There's nothing wrong with it. That's actually a good module to go by. How we feel, how we do. This less than stuff that he does to others. He'll say that by telling the woman she's subservient, he's actually doing a good thing to her, and that's fine. If a woman, there's nothing wrong with actually putting yourself in that situation with a man. If that is how you want it to be, and they have that agreement, then that's just fine. But I just like when it comes to holding them there against their will or telling them they're going to do what I say or you're out, and all of that. That's a problem. That's a problem for me. The holding them against their will, making women, misleading them and manipulating them on first, enticing them with a personal relationship and your riches and everything to get them into a foreign country where you think you're going to be able to do whatever you want and not pay the consequences. You see, because he didn't do that in England or America, where his ass would still be in jail and he wouldn't be walking around freely while he waits trial. You know, I have a problem with all of that. I have a problem that his woman is fine, not working, and him taking care of her? Nope. I have no problem with that whatsoever. That's her choice. That's his choice. That's their personal business. Do I have a problem with him selling an advocate like that, and instructing other people on how to get women to agree to live that way? Yeah, I got a problem with that. I do. I know. I do think that he thinks a lot of himself, but I also don't think that that's a bad thing. I think confidence is an attractive thing. Confidence is what most people who can get you to believe anything, that's really it. It's not actually what they're saying. It's the confidence in what they believe that they are and what they believe that they are saying. Don't we all want a little of that? And I would advocate for self-confidence in everyone. There's nothing wrong with promoting yourself. There's nothing wrong with believing in yourself and believing in what you can do. That's not my issue with Andrew Tate. His entitlement is a little hard to take, but he's entitled to have it, right? He has done great things. He's got lots of money. He's got lots of possessions. He's got lots of clout. And look at this whole, mass marketing industry that he's created. This pyramid scheme of making money. He was quite clever in having everybody else do the work for him. Like using these multimedia platforms where he is not actually the key account on the platform. Everybody else is doing the retweets and the dissemination of information, not Andrew, because he learned really quickly when he had the website up, how quickly it could be taken down when the complaints came through. So now all that information is disseminated through the people and is part of a pyramid type scheme, actually. Well, we'll see. We'll see how these RICO charges go in Romania, and then we'll see about further charges here in America, or in England, through other investigations that are going on. We can just look to see how that's going to play out or not. We do need to remember that in Romania, he is still innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But they're not letting him run around do whatever he wants, which is a good thing. And we'll have to look and see on Monday what happens with the assets. But again, I want to give credit for Murder by Crayons for helping to get the information out there and keeping me quite entertained with the facts. Like, to see the facts actually coming out and seeing an actual spin on, well, this is how the laws work, and this is what they actually have. Because if you go to see that account on Twitter, and I will be actually linking it in the description below, and another account too, anybody that's actually putting out the facts, I think that you guys can. I mean, we don't go to Twitter for our information, obviously. Well, since we can only get the legal documents, in what actually led me to the Murder by Crayons account was the actual indictment in Romania. Okay, the redacted version, in actually their take on it, it's been redacted to protect people and stuff like that, but you have to actually go through it carefully and to not try to twist the words that are in it too. They do push back on other people who are trying to twist the words inaccurately, even if it's against Andrew Tate. It's not like they're just bashing Andrew Tate. I do think that they are offended by the twisting of the misinformation and are trying to do, like I would, the best that they can to get the whole thing out there for everybody to see. And one of the things that we push back a lot is that this case is frivolous and there's no evidence. That picture just is that picture does it, right? I mean, what do you mean there's no evidence? What do you think all of this is? Like, what do you think? I really, anybody who thinks that a government is going to waste their time, a whole organization, for years when there's nothing there, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like, that they even could think that. I'm going to put it back up because, like, this, yeah. Let's leave with this, okay? Okay, Andrew, there's no evidence. Like, That is all just coloring books, right? There's no evidence. All these binders are nothing. Okay. Actually, what that is a big lawyer bill for you. I'm looking at what your lawyers need to be actually going through. And if your lawyers are telling you there's nothing here when they've got all of this, well, you need new lawyers, you know. I'm hoping that that's just your rhetoric and not what the lawyers are saying. And I hope that your lawyers are going to try the best of their ability to put a good defense for you. They've got everything there, you know, that they can go against. Let's just see. But do yourself a favor. Don't be contacting those witnesses. Don't be contacting those victims. Like, keep yourself out of trouble. You'll be back in a Romanian jail if you violate this gift that you've been given to walk a little more freely throughout Romania while you await your trial, which didn't disappear just because they let you walk around a little bit. Like, let's stop talking about that. Okay. Let's stop acting like it's not going to happen. Okay. It's definitely here. Now, I don't think they're wasting their time. I really don't. Yeah, exactly, Liam. It's not like he's being prosecuted for telling people how to take care of themselves or anything or getting a good body. Yeah, no, it's much more than that, you know. And we're on that. I think I'm going to end it, guys. If you don't have any more questions, I'm going to take a look through the chat again. I just wanted to make this brief. It was going to be about the hearing today, but unfortunately, it was only half of it. And I just was a little annoyed at some of the stuff he was saying, you know, especially that Piers Morgan interview. That was ridiculous. Um, I want to make sure. Okay, so I posted the Janko video. You've got the indictment, and you've also got that article in regards to GTA. And thank you, Rabbits, for also. I see that you sent me the article too. Thank you very much. You know, I do appreciate it when you guys send me stuff. I do. Yeah, I get it, right? It's just a lot of that going on. It's frivolous. It's a witch hunt. They just don't like me. Listen, anybody who thinks that government is going to actually press charges on you because they don't like you, come on. Really? It's the silliest thing I've ever heard of. Like, I think we've got better things to do. I mean, it might be true. It's probably true in my case. I don't like either one of them. Not very much, you know, but would I spend money like in whole government organizations and waste all that time because I don't like you? Come on, we're all adults here. Like, really? That's sandbox stuff. Oh yeah, the Janko one was a bit crazy. They were getting along great, but even Janko had to push back on him about a few things. Like, it was getting crazy. Yeah. Is he living in fantasy or a strategic manipulator? I think it's a little bit of both, Liam. I'm of two minds of it too. Half the time I think he's crazy. And the other half I think is that crazy? Like, look at all the money he's making on it. Like, people are eating it like up like spoonfuls of sugar. Like, so how crazy could that be? Like, is he like evil genius or just out of his mind, stark raving mad? Mm, yeah. No, I can totally understand the duality of that. And I don't have an answer for it. Not for myself or not for anybody else. Like, we're going to have to see, at least with the legal trial, how it pans out. But on that, tell you all that a good night. I don't know of any other streams tonight that I can recall, but I do know I'm streaming tomorrow and on Sunday. We're going to be doing AIT with Mrs. Cassandra around 8 o'clock tomorrow. And then on Sunday, we've got Baron B, which I'm looking forward to also. And I'll be back with more true crime. But for the rest of the weekend, I'm bouncing out of true crime. I did 3 of them this week, and that's it. No more true crime for the week. That's it for Friday night. Hello, Darth. It's good to see you. And oh, are you? You have a long night streaming tonight? Okay, everybody. If a mod, let me just see. I think I can right click on your name and grab your channel right now. Hold on. I can. Look at that. Are you going to be on Rumble? Let me just see. Oh, no, no, no. That's the wrong thing I was trying to do here. There it is. This is on Cool Frogs Rumble. Okay, I don't have Cool Frogs channel. But anyway, this is Dart's YouTube, and he's doing the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. And there's a lot there, and it's great for discussion. I've been quite entertained with a lot of it. Not that it's funny, it's not, it's serious stuff. But the reason that I'm going to put that channel there is because with that 48 Laws of Power, it actually puts into play the knowledge that the manipulation and deception has been used in powerful situations to get ahead in business, in history, war, history, growth, creation of countries plans, individual relationships, business success. It all comes down to that in some ways, and actually understanding how it's being used can help protect you from it personally. And I'm kind of glad that Darth has put that out there a little more. I read that book years ago, and it did help me. It did help me recognize a lot of things in business, how to use it and how not. It also helped me personally draw my lines and my boundaries, which is why I recommend it. Yep, exactly. What like Darth says, it is being used from your closest friendships to the greatest empires everywhere. And that's true. Oh, hi, Mark. I'm just about bouncing out, but I'm glad I got to see you before I go. Yeah. And you got to hear me say, "Oh, hi, Mark." And I do love to say that. I will never ever get bored of hearing Tommy Wissel's voice in my head when I say that. And it actually cracks me up every time. Like, it just lightens my mood. And I needed that. Thank you, Mark, for showing up, because Andrew Tate is not pleasant to talk about for me. Oh, thank you, Liam. I did not traffic those women. I did not. Okay, so a very serious subject, but we're going to end on a little bit of humor there, a lot of humor there, But seriously, um, if you go on Rumble, look for that Cool Frog. He has put the name there. I don't really have Rumble links, and unfortunately, my computer, if I try to do too many links here, Dart, I'm going to get in trouble and it's going to crash. So, yeah, absolutely, I do believe the name is spelled like that. I know Darth Hideous. His actual Rumble does like come up that way, like so. I don't know. Anyway, but I hope you all have a good night. If we don't see you over there in the chat with everybody, yep. Yeah, I wish I was more prepared, Darth. I should have been, I should get these links ahead of time, and then I wouldn't have this problem. But anyway, check out the stream later on Rumble if you're looking for something to do and you want some interesting conversation. But also, I highly recommend checking out that 48 Laws if you're not familiar with it. Either grab the book or go listen to a couple of those streams on Darth's channels about it. But yeah, it is quite interesting, especially if you're following all of this stuff with manipulation in the media. Some of these legal trials that are going on right now, some of these trials that I am actually reporting on deal with mass manipulation. Like, I don't know what. And I find it to be credible and valuable information, just something if you're interested. But, on that, I'm going to say goodnight. Thank you all for having a good conversation with me and contributing to it. You know that's what I really love about this. I don't only want to get the information out there. I want to hear what you think about it. I want to hear the questions, you know, and I want to, have discussions. I want to give you a place to talk about it freely on both sides of the situation, Like, I don't limit it to just what my opinion is. Your opinions actually matter too. So don't forget, you can like and share this stuff around. I am trying to, like, it's the end of the year. I'd like to see some more people coming on board. Please don't hesitate to share my channel around and, get people to subscribe or whatever. Like, stroke a bear here and there. It does put me in a good mood. I'll tell you that. Nobody would admit to not liking it. I'll admit freely. It's enjoyable to know that you guys want to hear it. What keeps me coming out here. It encourages me to keep doing it. It's like, but on that, oh, Mark, thank you for asking about the computer fundraiser. It is going. It is still going here and there, and it's going to keep on going. It's kind of my own fault because I won't put everything that comes into the channel to the computer. I still am doing some of the donations based on the memberships that I have, but all of that fundraising to my coffee fund, which is listed below, it says like, hey, do you like what you heard? Go ahead and buy Bear a coffee. Bear loves her coffee, but right now I'm not buying coffee with that money. I am putting it aside towards a new computer. Yes, rabbits, I am trying to get a new computer because this one has very terrible video graphics card. Although I'm very grateful to have the new computer, it is a step up from the Chromebook. It just isn't enough. And I really got to invest in more gaming streaming type technology. Like I started this as a hobby and did not really have the kind of equipment that was actually what I'm actually going to need as I grow. Yes, hey, oh gosh, I am so happy to see you, True Serial. Could you please contact me? Because I've been thinking about you a lot lately. Don't want to put any pressure on you, but I'm here. You know how to get a hold of me. I would love to hear from you. I really would. Oh, T King, hello. I am getting ready to leave, you know. I hope you do catch the next updates, on this or watch the replays. That would be great. But there's so much. Oh gosh, I think of you, True Serial, on some of the stuff that's going on. It's especially some of the cases that you and I have spoke about in the past that actually there seems to be some movement on. And of course you come to mind. So much fun. So much fun. But just I hope you're doing well. I really do. And on that, I am actually going to end it because I've got stuff I've got to take care of tonight. I will see you all over the weekend. You all know how to reach me. Don't forget to like, share, comment. You know, if you've got other questions in regards to taints or any of the other cases that we're going over or cases that you've got some interest in, hit the back of those videos. Not only does it help the algorithm, but I answer every comment. Yes, I do. All right. On that, I'm going to call it, people. Y'all have a good night. Thank you so much for being here.